Alright guys, welcome to Tango's TikToks. Today we're going to go a little conspiracy, a little scary. Let's have an amazing day, shall we? Here we go.
Baphomet was never meant to be worshipped, only understood. The name first appeared in 1307 when the Knights Templar were arrested across France. Under torture, several described a horned idol, part man, part goat, with wings, and a torch burning between its horns. They said it spoke in silence, and listened when no one else did, but Baphomet was never a demon in the traditional sense. In older occult texts, he appears seated between two pillars, hands positioned in an ancient gesture, one pointing up, one down, above a flame, below a serpent, breasts, hooves, a calm face. Not male, not female, not good, not evil, just balance. Pure and dangerous. On each arm, two Latin words, solve. Coagula, to break apart and to bind again. In 1895, a priest found a sealed chamber beneath his church. Inside a statue. He tried to destroy it. Days later, he was found missing. Only one sentence was left behind, carved in the altar wood. The goat is not a god. The goat is the mirror. And what it shows you is never what you expect. Did you know that
That's a bit disturbing, actually. If you haven't noticed, it seems to have taken over the whole world. The worship of money, the worship of evil, of death. It's a death cult. It really is.
Baphomet was...
I don't think skinwalkers exist, so I brought myself to an abandoned cabin in the woods and then heard this. Hello? I honestly don't know what that was, but I just whistled in the middle of the night, which is a terrible idea, and heard that scream, so I did the logical thing and went outside to investigate. This blanket wasn't here a little bit ago, which is extremely concerning, but I can tell you I surveyed the whole area and there was absolutely nobody around, so I'm not really sure what that's about. Something about this place just feels extremely evil. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like there's definitely something or someone out here with me. But since I'm so sure skinwalkers and cryptids don't exist, I'm gonna do the only thing that makes sense and, well, go deeper into the forest and try to figure out what that noise was.
Skinwalker! Skinwalker! Skinwalker!
After investigating the house, I heard what sounded like another scream, but this time from inside the house, and went back to investigate and caught this on camera. I have no idea what this is, but when I'm looking at the house, it almost looks like there's a set of glowing eyes from the window. I can tell you I was just inside that house and I didn't see anything in there, so I don't really know what this is, but it's definitely...
I would not go inside a house like that in the middle of the night. On my own, no, I wouldn't go. It's just, I don't know, it's not my thing.
What if I told you the oldest temple in the world, dated back to 9,600 BC, was actually built by Noah's family right after the flood, and carbon dating is off by 7,000 years? This is Göbekli Tepe, and everything you've been told about human history is wrong. Here's the proof. Göbekli Tepe shouldn't exist. Archaeologists say that it was built by hunter-gatherers in 9600 BC. But these hunter-gatherers somehow moved 20-ton stones. Without wheels, metal tools, or even agriculture. They carved intricate animals with precision. Lions, snakes, foxes, scorpions. Oh, and they aligned to constellations and knowledge that shouldn't have existed for another 6,000 years. Then they buried it, deliberately, like they were preserving evidence of something. But what? Here's what they're not telling you. Göbekli Tepe is in southeastern Turkey, just 300 miles from Mount Ararat, where the Bible says Noah's Ark landed after the global flood. According to biblical chronology, the flood happened around 2348 BC, not 9600 BC. So why does carbon dating say that Göbekli Tepe is 7,000 years older? Because carbon dating has a massive assumption built into it. It assumes the amount of carbon-14 in the atmosphere has always been the same. But what if there was a catastrophic event that changed Earth's atmosphere? Genesis 7:11 says, "The fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of heaven opened."
I've always believed that the official story was not true of anything, of humanity. It just seems like the way the world is going now, whatever's offered willingly or given to you free is bad for you. Just remember that.
Translation: the entire atmosphere collapsed. Before the flood, the Earth had what was called a vapor canopy, a layer of water suspended in the upper atmosphere. Genesis 1:7 describes waters above the firmament. This canopy would have created a hyperbaric condition, 2 to 3 times our current atmospheric pressure. You know what that does? It extends lifespans. Yeah, we use hyperbaric chambers today in medicine to heal wounds 300% faster and reverse cellular aging. That's why Genesis records people living 900 plus years before the flood. Adam, 930 years. Methuselah, 969 years. Noah, 950 years. After the flood, lifespans drop. Shem, 600 years. Abraham, 175 years. David, 70 years. Sound familiar? Now here's the key. The vapor canopy held massive amounts of carbon. When it collapsed during the flood, it dumped all of that carbon into the oceans and atmosphere, diluting the carbon-14 ratio. This makes everything before and after the flood appear much older. If pre-flood atmosphere had 3 times the carbon dating would have inflated ages by 3 times. 9600 BC divided by 3 equals 3200 BC. Adjust for atmospheric recovery? You get 2300 BC, right when Noah's descendants would have been building. Get this. This is where it gets wild. Look at the animals carved in the pillars. Lions, foxes, boars, birds, scorpions. Why would you carve these specific animals into stone unless you were commemorating what you had just saved? Genesis 6:19, of every living thing you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark to keep them alive. This isn't a random temple. This is Noah's memorial. The animals on these pillars, they're animals from the ark. Check this out. Using Fibonacci mathematics, nature's growth pattern, we can prove how 1,000 animal kinds from the ark became 8,000 plus species today. The Fibonacci sequence: 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. Each number is the sum of the previous 2. This is how population grows naturally. Take wolves. Year 1, 2 pairs from the ark, so 4 wolves. Year 5, 240 wolves. Fibonacci generation 5. Okay. Year 100, 50,000 wolves spread across continents. From these wolves you get gray wolves, red wolves, Arctic wolves, and eventually domestic dogs. Same kind, different species through rapid adaptation. Apply this to all 1,000 animal kinds by generation F50, which is about 4,000 years. You have millions of animals and full biodiversity. The math works perfectly. And here's the crazy part, the proof that they can't deny. We've seen rapid speciation in real time. Darwin, 18 species from one kind in 300 years. Dogs, 340 plus breeds in 200 years of human breeding, right? So from wolves to chihuahuas, same kind, proves the ARK model works. Göbekli Tepe's carvings aren't random, they're a roster, a memorial, a biological record. Here's the part that should make your jaw drop. Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried 8,000 BC. Conventional dating. But it's not the only one. All around the world we find temples with massive foundations buried 50 plus feet deep. The Osirion in Egypt, built with 200-ton blocks in completely different styles than the temple above, buried 50 feet down. Baalbek in Lebanon, 3 stones weighing 800 tons each. The Romans built a temple on top and said, "We didn't move those, the old ones did." The Sphinx, geologist Robert Schoch proved that it has water erosion from centuries of rain, but Egypt hasn't had that much rain since 3000 BC. All of these sites share the same pattern. Ancient megalithic foundations buried deep, with later cultures building on top and taking credit. Why? Because they were built immediately after the flood when the climate was still wet, then buried by sediment, abandoned during the Tower of Babel, when God confused the language of Babel around 2247 BC. That's when Göbekli Tepe was abandoned. That's when all of these sites were abandoned and left behind. Let me connect all the dots. 2348 BC. Global flood destroys pre-flood civilization. Vapor canopy collapses. Atmospheric pressure drops. Carbon ratios change forever. This breaks carbon dating. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, 8 people, exit the ark with 1,000 animal kinds. They land on Mount Ararat. 100 to 200 years later, Noah's descendants build Göbekli Tepe as a memorial. They have a pre-flood knowledge, astronomy, engineering, metallurgy. They carve the animals they save. They align them to the stars. They preserve a memory of what happened. Then, at Babel, in 2247 BC, God confuses their language. They scatter across the earth. Göbekli Tepe is buried to preserve it. So why does this matter? Because the official story requires you to believe that primitive hunter-gatherers who supposedly couldn't even farm yet somehow developed advanced astronomy, moved 20-ton stones, and carved with surgical precision. Or do you accept that they weren't primitive? They were the descendants of a pre-flood civilization that was restarting humanity. Göbekli Tepe isn't the beginning of civilization, it's the restart button. Drop an emoji if this changed the way you see ancient history. Share this with someone who still believes we came from monkeys, because the truth is written in stone, literally.
Let us know what you guys think. Don't know about the Noah stuff, but everything else sounds a bit sound to me. Cats ain't scared as shit. I know. I should know. I've got 10 cats. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was a bit of food for thought there. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. And have an amazing day. Bye.